So this morning we are going to make a fix to our MetalCloak lift kit. We have the MetalCloak 3.5 game changer that we installed on this. And it's badass. We totally dig it. Highly recommend it. We love it. But apparently on some Jeeps, there's a problem with the springs not really lining up well. And so we'll show you that. But MetalCloak, tell them about it. They send you some correction pads. And so we're going to install those. I read some things to where someone said this only takes like 20 minutes. I can't even make a good cup of coffee in 20 minutes. I'm going to expect more like 2 hours, but who knows? Maybe it'll take 20 minutes. So you notice there's a slight bow inwards on the spring as it sits right here. First instinct is you don't necessarily have your axle line center. We know that's not the case because if you look at the other side, it's very clear that it's bowed inward as well. So if it wasn't aligned, they'd be bowed in the same direction. But this is where the correction pads be put in place because they're both bowed inwards. Also, we had alignment and everything double checked after the wife and I installed the lift kit by HMC Off-Road here in the Phoenix Valley area, and they are meticulous and awesome and affordable. So we know that's not a problem. Here on the driver's side, we can see that the bow puts us really, really close to the bump stop. And we actually hit the bump stop flange. That you can see how close we get there. So we can hear it catch. It sounds terrible. It's not really hurting anything as long as we get it fixed. So that's what we're going to do today. So these coil spring compressors are 3 individual ones. I've used one that is like 1 unit in the center, but then sometimes it's hard to get the wrench in and out. So these, they were a little slower, but had a little more flexibility, kind of felt a little safer. So it wasn't bad, and they weren't expensive. The whole process is slightly awkward, but at least it felt safe. So the whole Jeep is almost always dirty, but we figured when we pulled these off, we'd kind of attempt to clean them up.
We don't know what kind of dirts are here. They could be from Moab, from California, from Colorado.
So I didn't spend a lot of time. I'm not necessarily a clean freak, but we cleaned them up. Okay, so after all of that, we've put the tires back on, dropped it back down at seating height, and with our fingers crossed, hoping that they're less bowed, and more importantly, it clears that bump stop flange. So here's what it looks like. So the passenger side definitely looks less bowed in. It oddly wasn't the worst. The driver's side was, but it looks way better. So those correction pads look pretty good over here. The driver's side considerably better. And find a good angle here so we can see we've got decent clearance. By no means is it sitting perfectly center in the coil spring, but way better. It's a simple little thing. If you've got bow and especially if you're hitting these bump stops on the coil spring, which you will be able to hear and feel, MetalCloak has these little correction pads. They look like they do the trick.